Hi, friends. Welcome back to Creative Birthright, where I invite everyone home to their creative identity. Today, we are focusing on something that a lot of us have internalized without even realizing it. The idea that productivity or how much you can produce is the ultimate measure of success. We live in a world that is always telling us we should be doing more, waking up earlier, working harder, and optimizing every moment. And if we don't, we feel guilty. But here's the thing. Productivity, as we have been taught to understand it, is a myth. You could even call it a scam. Not because getting things done isn't important, but because we've been fed a definition that prioritizes outcome over well-being, efficiency over meaning, and busyness over creativity. And honestly, that mindset is exhausting. So in this video, we are going to break down why our current understanding of productivity is flawed, how the Protestant work ethic shaped hustle and grind culture, what science actually says about work, rest, and creativity, and how embracing a more creative and intentional life can help us push back on this hustle culture that is really the antithesis of building a beautiful creative practice. I will also be dropping links to the resources I'll be citing in this video. So if you want to dive deeper, make sure you check those out. They will be in the description box. First, let's talk about the productivity illusion. When we talk about productivity, we are talking about getting as much done as possible as quickly as possible. It is about efficiency and optimizing your time. We've been conditioned to believe that if we aren't getting things done, if we aren't crossing things off of our to-do list, if we aren't constantly working and grinding, we are wasting our time. But research shows that this approach doesn't just make us miserable, it also makes us less productive over time. And I'll just put a plug here. We'll probably talk about it later in the video, but I just want to quickly flag that resting is productive. Your body needs it, okay? So make sure you're getting your rest. A 2014 Stanford University study shows that after 50 hours of work, your productivity starts to drop quickly. And after 55 hours, it basically disappears and you're getting diminishing returns. So if pushing yourself harder doesn't actually help, why do we continue to do this? And why do we feel guilty about slowing down? Now we need to talk about the Protestant work ethic and how it has created this hustle culture. Long story short, Protestantism, especially Calvinism, taught that hard work wasn't just good, it was also morally righteous. And at this time, productivity was tied to success. And being successful wasn't just about making a living, it became a sign of divine favor. And that probably explains why we fawn over and prop up billionaires, but let's not get into that right now. Fast forward to today, and that mindset shows up in hustle culture. And this idea that if you're not grinding 24/7, you're falling behind. This message is everywhere. Wake up earlier, work harder. Don't just have one job, have two. Have multiple streams of income. Sleep less and work more. No excuses. If you're not doing this, something's wrong with you. And we buy into it. We feel guilty for resting. We judge ourselves when we're not producing or doing something. And we push ourselves to do more and more. At the end of the day, we equate our worth to how much we can produce or how much income we can amass from all of our productive labor. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you did something just because you enjoyed it? Not because it was productive or useful, not because it would earn you some money, but because it brought you joy. And you don't have to answer that question yet, because now we're going to talk about what science actually says about work, rest, and creativity. If productivity is really about getting things done, we should be focusing on the things that help us do that, right? Well, research consistently shows that rest, play, and creativity are just as important as focused work. A 2012 study at UC Santa Barbara showed that people that took breaks and time to let their mind wander were actually better at problem-solving tasks. And a psychologist whose name I'm struggling to pronounce, so I'm just going to put it on the screen, coined the term flow state and found that peak performance actually happens when you are in a relaxed yet focused state, not when you're overworked and burnt out. And what about creativity itself? Well, research shows that making time for a creative practice improves your mental health, increases your problem-solving skills, and actually makes you better at your job. So why is it that we keep coming up with these hacks about how to do more instead of how to work better and smarter? And also, work less, because we have to make time for rest and play and creativity, and also time to just sit and do nothing. So I've spent a lot of time in this video complaining and on my soapbox about why productivity is a scam. In the next part of this video, I want to spend some time redefining productivity and talk about living intentionally and creatively. So, if the old definition of productivity is about maximizing output, let's redefine that in a way that works for us. One way to do this is to measure success by meaning and not by speed. Instead of, did I do enough today? Ask yourself, did I spend my time doing something that actually mattered to me? Something that had meaning and lasting impact? Make space for creativity. And I don't mean creativity as something to monetize and optimize. I mean creativity for the sake of it. Writing, dancing, cooking, anything that brings you joy. And let's be sure to prioritize joy and curiosity. Hustle culture teaches us that every moment should be monetized and productive. But let's push back on that. Instead, we should be asking, what sparks my curiosity? What makes me feel alive? And the most important thing that we must do immediately is detach our self-worth from productivity. You are not your to-do list. Your value isn't tied up in how much you can accomplish. Your value can't be found in your bank account or your annual salary. Your existence is enough. So let's start unlearning these myths we've been told. Productivity is not about doing the most. It's about doing what matters and doing it well. And what's the best way to push back against grind culture? Making space for creativity. Choosing to create just for the sake of it is a radical act. And I encourage you all to join me in this and reclaim your creative birthright. So that's all for today's video. If this resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. I want to know, how are you balancing work and creativity? Have you ever felt guilty for resting? And if so, how have you overcome that guilt? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more videos on how to break free from this toxic hustle culture and live a more intentional and creative life, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and don't forget to turn your notification bell on. Remember, creativity is your birthright. And until next time, be sure to take time to rest, create, and find joy in every day. I'll talk to you soon.